We're going to check in now with Matt Klink. He's a political analyst. And Matt, last time we talked to you was last Wednesday, January 6th. So now a different day at the Capitol. Thanks for calling in. Can Matt hear us? Hi, Matt.
I am. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the lead-in. Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
Hi, we're great, thank you. Just following this vote here, I was just saying the last time we actually spoke with you was a little different, last Wednesday, January 6th. So let's talk about these numbers. Did they surprise you?
No, although I will tell you that the 10 Republicans is a little bit greater than I was led to believe was going to be the case. I had heard anywhere between 5 to 7. But I think that those that did vote felt clearly very strongly that what Donald Trump did deserved impeachment.
What do you think changed the minds overnight of those 3 to 4 Republicans in the House?
Just some soul searching and probably some reconnaissance back in the district, realizing that what happened last week was so out of bounds and over the top that the Republicans in question felt that they couldn't support him any longer. So they voted to impeach the president.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say soul searching because the Washington representative Dan Newhouse was one of the ones who spoke out today, still undecided this morning, and then spoke out late this afternoon, at least on the East Coast, saying that it was a big decision for him.
Yeah, look, these votes don't come along very often for a reason. And even though Donald Trump has now been impeached twice by the House, these are not easy votes to take, and they clearly have lasting consequences. But, you know, without being flippant, that's why these members of the House make the big bucks, is that they have to make these serious decisions. And whether you voted for or against, I hope it was a difficult vote for them, because this was not an easy decision to make.
When you say reconnaissance back in the district, I assume you're talking about the constituents back in their home districts, that they probably checked with them first, more or less, to see what the temperature was, because, you know, a lot of them are actually putting their political careers on the line here.
Exactly, Glenn. I think you hit the nail on the head. They're talking to their district staff that have the finger on the pulse of what people are talking about. They have kitchen cabinets that are people that advise them in the district that are longtime friends or heads of labor unions or business organizations. And they're all gathering intelligence and saying, look, here's what we're hearing. Here's where the pressure points are. So that's what elected officials tend to do in situations like this.
And Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying that he would not have an early trial and convene on the 19th. So now this Senate trial, depending on when they decide to bring it forward, will likely happen in the early days of the Biden administration.
Yeah, Lou, that's very possible. Chuck Schumer will be the majority leader at that point, and then he will get to set the rules for if and how that occurs. There's been some speculation that they would deal with normal Senate business in the morning and then do impeachment in the afternoon. But I've got to imagine if you're Joe Biden that you don't want your initial 100 days of administration to be burdened with the heaviness of an impeachment trial. You want to get your agenda through.
Yeah, that would seem to make sense, because then all the focus would be on the previous administration and the previous president when you're trying to get your agenda taken care of in those first 100 days, which is critical for a new administration.
Absolutely. It's essential. They have to get their political appointees confirmed and various departments headed. They're going to deal with budget reconciliation, where they will pass large chunks of the Biden agenda and likely some tax increases. And you can do it with a 50-vote majority. So, no, they do not want to be burdened with impeachment. The question becomes, though, is whether you can confirm an impeachment of someone who's no longer in office. Now, they found an obscure precedent from 1876 where President Grant's Secretary of War was impeached by the House, but it was not confirmed by the Senate after the gentleman had left office. But that's going back a long way for someone who wasn't the president at the time.
We were talking earlier with our Washington, D.C. correspondent about Inauguration Day and what that will look like in light of what happened on the 6th, and COVID-19. Can you talk to that and your thoughts on it?
It's such a solemn and a serious day that ends with great joy, and the spectators applauding the new administration. I think it's just going to be a completely different vibe this year, that it will be more subdued. Obviously, the security presence will be off the charts. But anyway, with the COVID, I don't think that the Biden administration was planning a very large gathering of people. So it's going to be befitting of the COVID environment, but it will probably be even smaller given the craziness that happened over the last couple of weeks.
Okay, Matt, they're about ready to wrap this up soon. Again, there still are 5 members of Congress that have yet to vote, or at least we have not seen that on the board. We are going to listen in as this finishes up, so stay with us.
On this vote, the ayes are 232, the nays are 197. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Congratulations.
Okay, so there are 4 Republicans that did not participate and not vote, but every other member of Congress did.
So, Matt, let's talk about that. 4 decided not to vote at all.
And yeah, Lou, they may not be there because of COVID or other extenuating circumstances, or maybe they just decided not to vote. I think it's probably more related to the former, them being not allowed to vote because of COVID, than the latter.
Yeah, because I think several lawmakers did vote by proxy because of the COVID-19, and so it sounds like it was just basically making a statement. It's interesting, like not saying yes or not saying no. Like, why would you? It doesn't make.
Matt, is that a good look for them to not go one way or the other on that? I mean, there were people, again, voting by proxy. So they could have had, one of their fellow Republicans, cast the vote for them, and they didn't do that. They chose not to do it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, there was one Democrat as well. So, yeah, I don't know why that was actually the case, but you would think in a vote of this magnitude that they would get all 435 members to count the ballot.
All right, so today is the 13th. What happens now in the next couple of days?
Well, the big decision that the Speaker and her team have to weigh is when do they march the articles of impeachment across from the House side of the Capitol to the Senate side of the Capitol. And as you may remember, when they did this about 4 or 5 months ago, there was literally a procession of House members across to the Capitol. I'm under the impression, though, that the Speaker is going to hold these and not walk them straight across, because the Senate is required to take them up immediately once they receive them.
Well, I'm sure that's a discussion that she will have after the inauguration with Senator Chuck Schumer from New York, who will be the new head of the Senate.
All right,
well,
so
and Glenn, you may recall you may recall that last time Nancy Pelosi held on to them for
quite a long time
before walking them across.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Well, they have adjourned, and we are back on camera. So we are going to let you go. We appreciate, as always, your insight, and I'm sure we will be talking with you in the days coming, and of course on the big day next Wednesday. Thank you.
And again, it's official. President Trump, in the final days of his office, has been impeached for the second time since he's been president, and that is certainly unprecedented, something we have never seen before. Yeah.